Welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today for our um, student-led internship discussion. I am going to not really say much because I want to jump right in and hear from the students. We have 9 students talking about, I believe, 8 different internship sites. So there's lots to talk about and lots to hear about. So I am going to jump right in and start with Riley.
Hello, I'm just getting this up really quick.
Sure.
All right, can everybody see this?
Yes.
And can we all still see it
Yeah.
in presenting mode?
Yes, it looks good.
All right, perfect. So my name's Riley, and currently I am an intern at the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Salem. I'm a junior. That might have been helpful information. Um, so our mission statement at the club is to enable all young people, especially those who need us the most, to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible citizens. Staff and faculty, Marco Abreu is our CEO. He's an accomplished organizational leader, and he has led large teams of diverse professionals. Israel Ruiz is our program director. He supervises and creates weekly schedules and ensures that our programs run smoothly. And Jody Goslin is our director of extended services. She actually created a new program that we're actually starting this Saturday called Project Play, which I will get into a little bit later. Some quick statistics. 80% of club alumni said that the club had a positive impact on their attitude towards fitness and health. 52% of the 12th grade club members express an interest in STEM career, compared with 20% or 27% nationally. 97% of teens expect to graduate from high school. 87% of youth said they can stand up for what is right. 94% of members said there are many things they can do well, and 80% of club's youth said they understand how their feelings influence how they act. And that's just a small amount of statistics that they do have on this website. So if you're at all interested in any more statistics, I really recommend that you check out their website. I chose to intern at the Boys and Girls Club because it was convenience. I already worked there. So I was able to work out with my CEO that like putting in extra hours and like bouncing around. So I've already had like amazing learning opportunities here. It fits really well with my schedule. I'm currently working 7 to 9 in the morning, and I pick up extra where I can, but it just works because I don't have classes until 9:30. Um, and they're really, really flexible, which is awesome. It's an amazing positive atmosphere. Um, I mean, I really like consider it a family there. I did not have a single job before this where I was like completely happy, and this place like just encompasses everything that like communication, community, stuff like that. That's what it is. And it just like makes me happy, comfortable, and I don't see myself ever really wanting to leave, honestly. Um, my values and interests align with their organization, and great futures do start here, which is our slogan. There's programs for all ages, 5 to 18. We have aquatics, so anything swimming, lessons, fun swim, practice teams, um, sports teams and clubs, enrichment and STEM programs, power hour, which is like homework and tutoring. Um, they do that in the after school program, summer camp, which I plan on actually doing as well after this semester, summer brain gain, similar to power hour, but obviously not like homework, and project play, which is new and actually is under 5 years old. So far, I'm enjoying learning about how new programs are created in order to ensure everyone has an equal opportunity and a great future. Um, I've been working very closely with Jody and one of my other coworkers to get this program like where she wants it to be. And I'm very excited to see like how it unfolds on Saturday. Um, she's done a very great job with this, and I'm so immensely proud of her. I know I couldn't have done that much on my own. Um, I'm also getting education on behavioral management. I could have never, like calmed down a kid who's like having a fit, you know what I mean? So anything like outbursts or like misbehavior in general, like before this job, I could not like regulate those emotions, like how they were feeling. And I feel like now I'm gaining that knowledge and gaining that experience. And like with all ages as well, which is wonderful. Um, and like I said, I already feel like a part of the family. So on site, we transport the kids to and from school. We keep them in check and enforce discipline, demonstrate manners and kindness. We guide activities, and occasionally, like I said, we do have to calm down some meltdowns because, like this little kid on the bottom here, sometimes all the kids are not having the best day, and sometimes we have to be the ones to regulate that. Is that yeah, that's all it.
Awesome. Thank you. That was great.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. Up next, we've got Jenna.
Sorry about that. There we go. I was trying to get the camera to work. All right. Here it is. Okay. So everyone can see my screen, or just double checking. All right. So for my internship, it is at Northeast Artworks. Artworks Community Arts Center is the full name, but everyone just calls it the ARC. It's located in Peabody, Massachusetts. And the mission statement is Northeast ARC helps people with disabilities become full participants in the community, choosing for themselves how to live, learn, work, socialize, and play. The population that the agency serves is children and adults who have various different disabilities. But for where I go to, which is the ARC, um, it's mainly aimed more towards adults. So you'll mainly find adults there. I haven't really come across any minors. So it's a peaceful environment. But my direct supervisor is Susan Dodge. She's an artist who has been working at the Artworks as their director for over 6 years now. She's also the curator of Artworks Gallery at Breaking Grounds Cafe, and her job title is Director of Artworks Community Arts Center. My role as an intern is mainly just being an assistant for Susan at the Artworks, educating people who come in different art lessons and assisting anybody with any of their needs for any artworks they need help with or step in when needed. Why I chose this internship was mainly for convenience, as it was a very quick and easy commute to get there, since I also live in Peabody and it's just like a 10-minute drive. Um, and they responded very, very quickly when I reached out to them. So they'll most likely respond quickly again if you try to. and I was able to combine my love for art and psychology here. The challenges and perks of my internship. The challenges for me is that supervisor is very, very busy majority of the time. But if you reach out and you try to talk with her, whether it's through email or in person, it's kind of difficult in person, so email works better. You can kind of address things better through there since it can be hard to communicate. Also, learning how to teach classes. I'm not good at, so it's hard for me. So that's something to keep in mind. It's also good to know when to step in and when not to, and knowing when or what people will need help with, and knowing when or when not to speak. Personally, for me, it's not really something I'd want to do as a career, but that wouldn't stray me away from liking it there since moving on to the likes actually for my internship is that the people are so sweet and kind. They will always encourage you that you're doing amazing, you're doing great, and they honestly will make sure that you leave with a smile on your face. They're so sweet there. It's a very friendly and calming environment, and everybody treats everyone with respect. Um, and they will often tell you how you make a positive impact on their day, and everyone shows genuine care to one another. So it's a very like heartwarming community there. And that's it for my slides.
Great. Thank you. That was great. Awesome. All right. Next up, we have Grace. Oh, Grace, we can't hear you. Yes.
Okay. So I'm also at Northeast Arcs, but I'm at a different internship. I intern at the Journey program at Northeast Arc, which is in Danvers. And like Jenna said, this is the Northeast Arcs mission, so I'm not going to reread that again. It's just basically talking about how they want to help people with disabilities be their full potential in the community. And the population that I work with at the Journeys program for Northeast Arc is I mostly work with adults with developmental disabilities, but I also do have some children, but most of them are older teenagers. Or I think my oldest is like 60 and my youngest is like 16. Their Northeast Arc serves about 10,000 people in about 190 cities in the New England area. And so these are all different types of jobs that Northeast Arc hires. I pretty much work with the day support and the program managers, but I have been getting more involved with like the nursing staff and the psychologist also. So my supervisor is Donna, and she is the program director and community employment. She oversees my internship and also oversees many of the employees at Northeast Arc, and also she pretty much supervises all the participants and clients there. Um, So my role as the intern is I assist with the team members in organizing educational and fun activities throughout the day. I also add extra hands when we go on day trips, and like most of the day trips are to sports clubs or the mall in Danvers. And pretty much what I do is I just interact and like play different basketball and soccer with the participants just to kind of get them engaged. And also I work one-on-one with some students and participants. So I would be with them all day and just kind of analyze and then write a report about them, how they did, so we could talk to their caregivers about how they were that day. So why did I choose to intern at Northeast Arc is I really love this population, and the location was really close to campus, and the facility is very nice. And when I went to do my interview, the staff was all very welcoming. And even if they weren't the people interviewing me, they went out of their way to introduce themselves and what they did, which I thought was very professional. Some of the challenges is definitely, it's sometimes hard to communicate with the participants, depending on their diagnosis. Also, they can be pretty stubborn, so it's kind of hard to get them to do something if they don't want to do it. And also, a lot of the participants and even some of my coworkers are deaf, which I don't know sign language, which it would be beneficial if I did, just because to communicate with them, it would definitely be beneficial. But just working with this population in general can have its natural challenges. So what I like the most about work interning here is the people, the participants are the sweetest. They always get so excited and they constantly ask my coworkers when I'm coming in just because they don't see me as often as the people who work full time there. So they're very excited to see me, which always makes me appreciate going and working with them. The experience definitely is something that I am very much happy that I'm getting just because I never worked with this population like one-on-one, and it's making me learn a lot. And I recently been able to read case studies of some of the participants. And so I get a look one-on-one with what they're diagnosed with and kind of how to like interact with them instead of just reading in a book what that diagnosis is. It's definitely nice to put that characteristic together. And also, I love all the activities that we do and all the games and the bonding that I do with the participants just because it helps me get to know them and they get to know me and trust me, which is very rewarding. And I believe that's it.
Hey, thank you so much. Okay, up next we've got Megan.
Okay. So I work at the Doing School in Tewksbury, and it is a public school. So the district strategy is that the entire public schools community believes that the education program will encompass current research-based teaching, learning, and assessment approach that promotes consistent growth among our students and staff to achieve academic, social, and emotional success for all students. So the population that I work with is a little bit different than like the school itself. I work in the integrated preschool program with preschoolers. And I work in a DLC program, which is a developmental learning center. So I work with children that have developmental disabilities. This program does run through kindergarten and first grade. But then there are typical classes as well. So the staff that I interact with on a daily basis, I'm going to start from the bottom. There are classroom aides, which they assist the lead teachers in the classroom. So they're really just like extra hands. And then there are RBTs, which is registered behavior technicians. And it's they do pretty much the same thing that an aide does, but it's a national certification. And then my supervisor, for example, is a BCBA, so she's a board certified behavior analyst. I'll go more into that on the next one. So Paige is my supervisor, and she is a BCBA, so she develops IEPs, which are individualized education programs. And their programs are individual to each student and what they need. So she can assess students to identify behaviors to be increased or decreased, run assessments, and aid in classroom management. So if there's a child having a tantrum and the lead teacher needs help, she'll run down to the classroom and help in whatever way she needs. So my role as the intern, I float around to different classrooms. So I'm in 3 different classrooms a week. And I assist lead teachers. I work with all the kiddos or one-on-one depending on the child's needs and the needs in the room. So during a normal day, I'll do work trials with children and I'll track data and behaviors. Sometimes I will assist my supervisor on assessments and stuff like that. So that one's pretty cool. I chose this placement because I work at the school already. And so it was more convenient, but I'm also familiar with the children and the teachers. And this is the kind of work that I want to do in the future. So I knew that it would be a really valuable experience. Some of the challenges is working with children can be really difficult for some people. So it's important to be confident with what you can provide. All of the children have and require different needs. So it's important to be flexible and reactive. And then, of course, they are preschoolers, so there are boogers and bathrooms and coughing and absolutely no personal space. But I do love it there. I really enjoy it. Every child and every day is different, so it definitely doesn't get boring. For me personally, it's really rewarding to work with kids with disabilities since you're helping them, but you also learn so much about yourself and just the world in general. And you learn so much so fast, and you always come away with different skills and abilities. And I think it's just really beneficial to have overall.
Great, thank you. Great. All right, Shannon.
Okay. Okay, so my internship is at Willows Associates, and it is in North Andover. So it is right down the street from Merrimack. The location is really convenient. So they don't have a mission statement because their website is being worked on currently. So it's kind of messy right now, but they're working on changing it around and fixing everything. So my supervisor is Brian Burke. He's a licensed mental health counselor. He's been in the psychology field for around 10 to 15 years. He's also the new director and the owner of Willows, which he's been doing for a year. He's also worked in a variety of spaces, group homes, inpatient, and now counseling center. So the population we serve is the youngest age they serve is 5 for the neuropsych testing. And then in conducting therapy, it's mainly teenagers and anyone older than that. So why I chose this internship, I chose it to get experience in the clinical world as well as learning about the neuropsych testing. It's convenient to me with the hours and the location. They're very flexible with what days that I can come in. There's also many different types of people to work with. So if I want to stick to a certain group, like I can see that certain group in the counseling center all on different days. Some challenges is I had trouble finding a placement with other spots. Also, some clients aren't comfortable with you shadowing them. They just don't want another person in the room with them on different sessions or even on the testing. I also had some anxiety surrounding the position in general because this is like my first kind of job outside of what I'm used to. So it was very, very different for me. So some of my tasks that I do are shadowing clients when they're comfortable with it. I also read through the neuropsych files so that they can update them and add them to their system, which also is breaking them down and being able to sit and read them and be able to do some kind of independent like learning at my own time. And then shadowing neuropsych testing just recently started, so I'm able to sit in and watch kind of how the testing works. And that's it.
Great, thank you. Okay, Allison.
Okay. Can you see it okay?
I can't see them yet. No.
Okay.
I can see them when it's like, but I can't see them now.
Okay, sorry. Okay. So I'm with Valley Collaborative School, the alternative middle school, and it's located in Billerica, Massachusetts. So I found both their mission statement and vision statement. And I thought that they were both important to talk about, but the mission statement is they work collaboratively to create a structured learning environment that empowers individuals to lifelong learning and to navigate confidently with optimal independence in their community. And so their vision statement is Valley Collaborative partners with families, districts, and the community to provide innovative programming that empowers students and adults to discover their individual strengths, interests, and abilities. And in doing so, students become responsible, contributing members of society. So the population that they serve are the surrounding school districts, and the students are usually challenged in their traditional school settings. And so, as I said before, I'm with the alternative middle school program, and they assist with students with social, emotional, behavioral, and academic needs. And then within the same building, they have another middle school program and high school program. So the transitional middle school program is designed to meet the needs of students diagnosed with autism, pragmatic, and sensory issues, and with a range of cognitive and language abilities. And then the alternative high school program assists students with social, emotional, vocational, and academic needs. And then the transitional high school program is designed to prepare individuals for post-secondary education, employment, and living. And along with these programs, they also have an elementary school in Tingsboro, and then adult service programs. So I work with Brian and Dana. Brian is the alternative middle school's assistant principal, and I'm typically in communication with him weekly and ask him questions whenever is needed. And then Dana is the alternative middle school social worker, and I work with her very closely. Each day I'm on site, and she gives me insight with what she does and who she works with, and then explains certain activities that she does throughout the day with students. And she's able to answer questions about anything. Yeah, she's able to answer questions about everything and anything. And so my role as an intern is typically observing the classroom, observing group, which is when the social worker works with students on specific topics. And most recently, they talked about trust. And then I observe how students, teachers, and support staff engage with students during behavioral outbursts, and then correcting inappropriate behaviors or language that's not appropriate for school. And then I also go on weekly field trips and act as extra support. So the challenges that I faced in finding my placement was not getting any response at first, and the communication is just very low. So that was a little bit frustrating. And then at my internship, not fully knowing how to interact with the students, and when and if I should be directing students away from inappropriate behavior or language throughout the day as well. But positives have been when I went into interview and tour, I was able to meet with other school staff and school counselors, and and I was able to get experience of what a typical day would look like. And all the staff were very welcoming. And then more throughout my internship, I've been able to ask so many questions, and they've all the staff have been very supportive with me learning throughout this process. And I've been slowly getting to know the students and getting more confidence in how to interact with them. And all the staff have been very welcoming with all of that as well. And then that's it.
Hey, thank you so much. All right, Jessica.
Is it working? Okay, I think it is.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so I am currently an intern at NFI MA, which is Foundations for Families. And as you can see, it's located in Haverhill. Oh no, okay, there we go. I was gonna say it wouldn't let me change. So NFIMA's mission statement is maximizing potential to achieve the full promise of community living. The population that Foundations for Families serves is obviously it's in its title, it's families. The age of the population can vary by service that they provide, but they are known for providing quick and accommodating resources for youth and families in crisis. Most of the people who work at NFI are clinicians. In this specific area, Foundations for Families, these clinicians are going in and working with families by providing home-based treatment, counseling, crisis intervention, and more. So obviously I'm not like a licensed clinician, but I still have like my own company email. And I'm able to look at the trainings online, and I'm able to access the database that holds all the case reports and more. I chose this site because I'm interested in going to the, sorry, I just choked. I'm interested in going into the therapy route with my psych degree. And I'm also leaning towards working with older children or young adults, and obviously teenagers kind of fits in there too. But I was thinking that working with families would be an interesting experience to kind of see where I wanted to, or like what I was more interested in out of those ages. So my role as an intern is I mostly observe the clinicians as they work with the families. I'm also able to sit in on meetings they have, like regular staff meetings or case meetings. And I can review case files. Like I said, I have access to those through my email, and they're mostly in an online database. I was really excited to begin this internship because I would consider myself to be a visual learner. And I think it's a really cool way to see in the inside of a clinical setting. So my supervisor is named Heather, and she is the project director for Foundations. She's the one who conducted my interview and helped me with all the paperwork, and she's answered all the questions that I've had so far. She is the point contact person for Foundations of Families, and I've found that I do most of my communicating with her, both in person and through email. So I also meet with the assistant project director, whose name is Alex. She set me up with more of the trainings. And we also do a lot of emailing. I'm supposed to meet with her next week to do my supervision. So what do I like about this internship? I really enjoy the community. Everyone that I've met is so kind, and you can really tell that they care about their clients. I'm not afraid to ask questions, and I like going into the office when I do. And that was something that I was kind of nervous about because I really don't like asking for help. And like asking people questions kind of makes me nervous, but I feel like everyone was so approachable and like willing to answer my questions that wasn't even an issue. I also think that sitting in and having an opportunity to be in a session is really cool. And it's a great way to learn about being a clinician in a hands-on way. So this is my last slide, but I would say that the biggest challenge for me going like into people's homes. We don't go into people's homes all the time. Like some clients, they prefer to go out and like do things. Like next week I think I'm supposed to go to like the mall or something with a clinician and a client. So it's not always in home, but I think that it was a little daunting for me in the beginning because that's kind of like, it kind of feels a little bit invasive, but at the end of the day, like it's essentially the same as doing it in an office. You're just in their home. But I also wanted to mention that all the clients that are observed by the interns obviously give us permission to be there. And I just realized that I had something else that I liked about it that I didn't put on the slide, but I am a paid intern. So that's definitely a pro. But that's all I really have about this. I really do like, actually, wait, sorry, I have one more thing. I would say the other challenges, I think some of my other classmates have said this, but communication isn't the best all the time. I find myself definitely having to follow up on emails and stuff, but also they're super busy, so like it makes sense. But yeah, that's the last challenge I would say. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. And last but not least, we've got Sam and Jane. Okay.
Okay, hopefully this will want to work. Okay. So our internship site is Windrush Farm, which is a like horse therapy place in North Andover. And our mission statement is that Windrush Farm promotes confidence, independence, and well-being in children and adults with physical, cognitive, or emotional challenges through therapeutic riding and horse-related programs.
So the community that we serve includes adults and children with a wide range of challenges, which includes ADHD, autism, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, unprivileged youth, impaired vision, and traumatic brain injury. Janet Nittman is the CEO. She oversees operational, financial, educational, and development functions, the background in finance and marketing. Most of her work is administrative, but she loves horses.
And she's my advisor. I don't know who your supervisor is, Jane, but I report directly to her, which I'll talk about. So my role, I'm a remote intern. So I've only actually been to the farm once, which was on Monday, but all of my projects that I do are completely online. Like I spent very many hours setting up a spreadsheet of all of like the point of contact people for all of the special ed programs in like a certain radius around North Andover. And then what I'm currently working on is I interviewed one of the volunteers that's been there for a few decades, and we're submitting her as a candidate for like a grant opportunity. I also take care of a lot of smaller projects and tasks as they pop up. Janet lost the USB drive for her PowerPoint, so I had to remake that. I've rewritten letters. She's had me look into all sorts of stuff, which has been fun. And so my challenges are that it's not the most exciting internship in the world. Not a ton of human contact. I mean, other than speaking to people on the phone, sending emails, and talking to my supervisor, I'm kind of off doing my own thing. And it's not super reflective of what a lot of jobs in the psych field are like. But I do like a lot of things about it. It's for me, I have a really flexible schedule, which is nice because my schedule is something I struggle with. And I've been able to develop some good organizational skills. All of the staff that I have spoken to are incredibly friendly. And even though it's remote, I feel like I'm still learning a lot and gaining a lot from this experience.
So my role is that I've been going to the farm to sidewalk in a class, which includes walking next to the horse with the rider and a horse handler to be an extra set of hands while the rider's on the horse. I started doing remote work, which included doing research on horses and fixing up spreadsheets. I chose this because I've always loved horseback riding. From starting to ride at a therapeutic riding farm growing up, they continued to ride in summer camps and shows. I have a lot of experience around horses, and from riding growing up, I thought it was a perfect fit for me. Some challenges was I was with a horse in training and she wasn't listening, so she bit me twice and hit me in the stomach, so got the wind knocked out of me. The kids are supposed to do everything on their own, so it's kind of like hard to know when to step in and when not to. But one of them was like going for a gate, and I tried to help before he got hurt, but the teacher told me not to do that. And getting the horse in the right spot to let the kid get on and off of the ramp because they're huge, and you put them in the small line to get it in the perfect spot. What I like about it is being around horses all day, and all the people there are so nice. I like being a horse handler because I get to see what it's like being in a class and seeing the kids feel so happy, appreciative of me after the class. And everyone says they're so glad for me to be there to help out. And I always do a good job, and I love being around the horses.
Alrighty, and I think that's all we have. Oh God. Zoom doesn't like to work.
Great. Thank you both. Okay, so now I have some questions. And so the first one is for Jessica. What was the process for you? So for your internship, getting your internship, what was that process like for you?
Yeah, so over winter break, we were given a list of potential sites by you. And I read through it and I found NFI and I was like, oh, like this is super interesting. I think we had actually talked before too. And you had recommended it. So I was like, oh, like this is a good one. And I think that I would like to reach out to them. So I read the sheet and I saw who the point like contact person was for them. And I reached out to her and I sent her an email basically being like, hi, like this is who I am. Like I would be really interested in like being an intern for you guys. Like I think what I sent was my resume, and then there's a letter that like explains the class that like the internship class that we send to, just so they kind of like know that it's required and stuff. And so I sent all that over and she answered I think within a couple days and was like, oh, like would you be interested in working with like this population or this population? And I told her that I'd be interested in anything. And so after I think right around the end of winter break, they had someone call me and we set up an interview. And I did that interview online with a couple other people, including Heather, my supervisor, who worked there. And then I filled out a bunch of paperwork and that was kind of that. And then I went into the office. So it was basically, I feel like it was a pretty like normal, like, oh, like job interview process, but there was that extra layer of like I need to send my resume, I need to send like we're doing this for a class and like I need to have a certain amount of hours. And I think it's really important to stress that, otherwise they're just going to be like, oh, you're an intern, but you need to be like, I have stuff that I need to do and I need your help with it. So yeah.
Absolutely. And I think sharing that all up front is really important because then they know that they can meet those needs for you too. Awesome. Great. Okay, so the next question is for Megan. What was the most challenging part about finding an internship for you?
I think the most challenging part is finding something that you're interested in, because there are so many like opportunities, but it is a big commitment. So you don't want to be miserable if you don't have to be. So I think it's a balance of finding something that you want to do, but also understanding that if it's not what you want to do, knowing that you've found something that you want to stay away from. And I think that's beneficial as well.
Absolutely. I think that's a great point because I think it's you learn either way. You know, you're learning whether you find out I love this or ooh, this isn't really for me. So I think that it's important to highlight that. And then it helps. You're not miserable. You just take it as a learning experience. So awesome. Thank you. Okay, the next question is for Jean. So Do you feel like you've found yourself making connections between things you're learning in the classroom and what you're seeing at your internship site?
Yes, I have made connections from class to the internship by how we talked about interview tips and how to not be afraid to ask questions when you need to because they're always so nice and they're there to help you and they want you to do a good job. And yeah, that's really it.
Right. So I think that's so important. And I've heard a couple of people mention that idea of like having a hard time asking for help, but being the response has been so nice and kind. And I think for the most part, it's like they want you to do well. And they also know that this is a new experience. So they will not be helpful. And so it's nice to hear that that's what you're experiencing. So that's good. Awesome. Thank you. Okay. Okay, Sam, you're up next. How do you feel that your internship can or does enhance your classroom experience or the knowledge that you're learning in the classroom?
So I feel like it's an interesting question because my internship isn't really like a super practical psych internship, but I feel like the experience of kind of being held to a higher standard outside of something that's school but still related to the field, it makes it feel more real, like there's a purpose to what we're doing. And that can really help motivate you in the classroom. And then, regardless of what sort of internship you have, there's definitely hard skills that you're able to get out of them. I know for me, I've been developing way better organizational skills, and my time management has been getting better. I mean, it's still not great, but it's been getting better. And I feel like my communication skills have also improved, which are really beneficial for the classroom and just life in general. And it can benefit in the long run.
Right. That's really great because that's huge. I think so much of what I want people to take away from the experience isn't just even psychology related. It's more like life and work and interacting with peers and people outside of college, and having to do that and manage that. So you're picking up skills that you're able to use both ways, which I think is really cool. So that's great. Awesome. Thank you. Okay. So Allison, the next question is for you. What advice would you give to other students who are thinking about or planning on doing an internship?
Yeah, so I would say be open to different opportunities and different organizations because you never know what you can learn from any position that you have. And I would also say reach out to as many places as you can. Um, when I started reaching out, I had a hard time hearing back from places. So I found new sites. And when I wouldn't hear back from them, I would reach back out again. So just keep reaching out and reach out to as many places as you can.
That's very good advice because I think that just gives you more options too. And sometimes you might not hear back, but at least you'll give yourself a lot of options. Great. Thank you. Okay. The next question goes to Shannon and Jenna.
So for me, to like what I wanted to gain from this experience was a lot of experience in the clinical field because that's something that I was super interested in, and being able to work at a place that specifically does things like that was really important to me, and like being able to see what it actually is like instead of just kind of waiting until I graduate. So mainly it was being able to get some sort of clinical experience and learn about what goes into being a therapist.
Wow, that's great. And I think that it's smart to look for that, knowing because it's a specific field. So you want to be able to look and see, is this really what I want to do? And kind of get that experience and be around people doing that work can give you a lot of information. So that's great. Thank you. All right. And Jenna, what about you? What are you hoping to gain from this experience?
What I'm hoping to gain from my experience overall is kind of just something in general currently, because for me, my internship, I've sort of been like the cleaning lady, and there hasn't really been much for me to do. Um, so I'm kind of hoping to just gain something out of this since uh, personally for me, I feel as if I haven't really learned anything.
And sometimes it takes reaching a certain point and then asking too for what you want to learn, and that can be important, being able to say, okay, I've done this up to this point and now this is what I want, and see what happens, because sometimes that you'll get a good response from that.
Mm.
Which is helpful. But I've had lots of students that feel like, okay, I'm doing like these tasks and I'm taking care of all of these things, but I also know that there's probably so much that you're doing that you don't understand how helpful it is that you're doing it, but it's so helpful to how things are going. So I would say you're probably doing more than you even think you're doing. That's
Mm.
my guess. But I would ask for more, because I think that's important to be able to do too.
No, I trust me. I've reached out a good amount of times, but yeah, they said that basically like I could try to, like, the more I'm there, the more I would get to do, but not much time left in the internship, so I'm wondering when that's going to happen.
Still got, what do we got, 7 weeks left? We've got some time. Something like that. Maybe not that much time, but
Yeah.
all right. Thanks, Jenna. Okay. The next question is for Grace and Riley. I'm gonna grab you two. Where are you? Grace and Riley. Okay. So has this experience that you've had so far helped you define kind of what you want to do in the future?
For me, I worked in memory care, and that's what I think my end goal wants to be. So I wanted an internship where I got different exposure to different populations to make sure like that's what I still wanted to do. So I definitely think that it helped me like solidify that I want to work in memory care rather than the population I am doing, but I am grateful for the opportunity it gave me because if I didn't try it, I would have never known.
Absolutely. I think that's important. And I think it's nice to know sometimes even doing the opposite thing guides us that this other thing really is the right fit for us. And it sounds like even if it's not what you want to do in the long run, you're still enjoying it. So that's good.
Yes, definitely.
What about for you, Riley?
For me, I think it definitely helped me figure out what I want to do, like after college. Um, Before I worked at the Boys and Girls Club, I didn't really work with kids at all, like psych related. I mean, it's not really like very psych, but there are some like aspects thrown into it, which I really like. But I think that my internship made me realize that I do want to focus on like younger children.
That's great. And I think that you also see there's so much of psych that just is in everything. So it shows up everywhere. So we have actually so I'll remove these spotlights. We have a question from someone. So if students that are listening do have questions, feel free to throw them in the chat so I can ask. So this is sort of for everyone. We have a student who is in their 3rd year. They're going to be a junior next semester, and they're curious about whether it's better to do an internship in the fall or the spring, if there's a better time. I don't know if there's any juniors out there who want to weigh in on that.
I'm a junior and I'm doing my internship now in the spring. I don't know if I really like would have had a preference. I kind of just threw it at the end of my junior year because I wasn't really looking beforehand. But if you are looking right now, I'd say like just get it out of the way while you can. Like if you have the space for it. If you don't have the space for it in your schedule and like you have too much on your plate, definitely wait till the spring, but I wouldn't wait until your senior year.
Absolutely. So that's good advice too in terms of kind of scheduling. Megan, did you have something to add?
So I am a senior, and I think that it is helpful to do it in the spring because it's sort of like it gets you ready for like after college. Um, and I think it's helpful if it is something that you want to do. It sort of opens the door and gets your foot in the door a little bit. And then if it's not something that you want to do, you still have time to find something that you do. But I feel like if I had done it in like my junior year, it wouldn't really have helped me um, in the right direction for after college.
Yeah. And I would say too, if you do it in junior year, you can always do a directed study and do a second internship. Just saying, I'm all about more than one internship. I will encourage people to do that. But I think it's the timing and your schedule is so important because you have to make sure you have room in your schedule for your internship. Everybody here that's doing their internship has had to devote a certain day or two or more, certain hours of the day to do their internship. So you just need to, no matter what semester it's in, it just has to be a semester that you have the time and the space to do it. So you don't feel overwhelmed because ultimately you want to enjoy the experience and you don't want to feel like it's just like one more stressful thing. You want it to be an enjoyable experience. Any other questions from our students that are listening? Or any last remarks from any of our current interns? Anything else they want to add or share? You've all said great things already, but giving you another shot just in case.
I just wanted to let everybody know, like definitely reach out to Katie, like reach out to your professors, like literally reach out to anyone if you have any questions at all. Like, um, and if you're interested in like any of our internships, I can't speak for everybody, but if you're interested in the Boys and Girls Club, I mean, I'd love to hear from some of you guys. We're always looking for people. So yeah, feel free to ask questions to anyone and everyone. It's helpful.
Absolutely. I can't support that enough because I want people to ask questions early and often because I don't want you to feel like you're struggling and you're doing it by yourself. I want to be there to help support. That's why I love hearing from all of the students because they're doing it and they know what it's like and they are, they're here to talk with you about it, which is really, really great. So thank you because that is
Words of wisdom. Thank you, Riley.
that is
And about just kind of looking early. So if when you're planning about when you're going to take your internship, you want to start looking to secure that internship, it can be months ahead and you can just tell them when you're available to start. Because the most stressful thing is to start class and not have an internship yet. So you really just want to start probably even earlier than you think you need to, and just make sure you're clear with them about I'm starting in September or whenever it is.
yes. Early, reach out to a lot of people, more than you think you need to, and just asking for help. And if you are struggling, say, something's happening, I don't know what's going on, and no one's getting back to me, and can you help me? And that's the best thing because I will jump in and see what I can do. So I just want to say thank you so much to all of you for letting us hear about your experiences. It really is helpful, I think, and it's exciting to hear about what you're doing. You're all doing some really, really cool stuff. So I really appreciate hearing about all of it.
Really great presentations, guys. Nice job.
So Thank you again so much. That was so great. I really appreciate it.